Oh boy, get in here. We have so much to chat about on Boston has entered the chat. Good Lord. Pulse check after last night's Celtics survival in overtime. 133-128.
I'm too stressed after that one to feel anything but alive. You don't got to check my pulse. For Celtics fans, that wasn't enjoyable at all. For Pacers fans, you're waking up disgusted.
All right, let's get into it all. We're checking our pulses after last night's Celtics overtime win. Plus, we'll get you ready for the Western Conference Final, Game 1 tonight between the Timberwolves and the Mavs. No rest for the weary on that. Plus, wait, there's more. We skate to the ice, and we'll handicap the Final Four of the Stanley Cup playoffs. And do you love Boston sports memorabilia? So do we. We'll explain, so stick around for that as well. But first, look, we got to get this off of our chest. For fear of cussing on a family program, I decided to let George do this. I'm too stressed out, George. I don't even smoke cigarettes. I want a whole box of Newports.
Man. Like the Celtics, we want to see a grinded out, tough win. And that's what you guys got in Game 1. But it's not a clutch time win when it was gifted to you on a silver platter.
I know.
You just look at the swings of this game. I mean, with 2 minutes to go, it's 115-110. Indiana after that ridiculous Nemhard make. Go in, Drew Holiday to the paint. Jaylen Brown hit some free throws, 115-114. It's getting tight. Nemhard step back, 3, 117-114. And then with just under 26 seconds left, we see a pull-up wide open 3 by Jayson Tatum. Could have tied it, miss.
Oh.
Derek White going to the cup, miss. Unlike Derek White. Tatum rebound. Instead of going up strong, decides to fade away 1 foot, miss.
Oh.
After an inbound turnover, Jaylen Brown bails it out with the 3. But you need the Pacers to decide not to foul up 3, and that's a call and pass out Siakam on the fly. My thing with all this is you finally see the Celtics in a game, down to the wire, pushed to their limits, and it's a clutch time win as it'll go down. Look, Jaylen Brown executed down the stretch.
Yeah.
Drew Holiday showed up huge. Most points we've seen from him all season. But what he did defensively on Tyrese Halliburton, literally just staring at him, and Hallie forgetting how to play basketball. But it's a combo of those guys stepping up and the Indiana Pacers themselves just stepping out.
Yeah.
Nemhard and Halliburton, when the team needed them most, just forgetting how to play basketball. It's as it was in round 1 and round 2. Don't feel good walking away from this win for the Celtics because you needed that team opposite of you to completely just fumble the whole thing away. You got into Game 1. Pacers probably gave you their best game of the series. They will. They walk away deflated.
Yeah, they do.
And you'll pull off a sweep here. But when you get to the finals and you're facing a Luka Doncic, an Anthony Edwards, a Kyrie Irving with Doncic on Dallas, they're not just going to mentally become a paper and crumble in the clutch time, and they're not going to give you a game like this one. So, again, this is where it comes into you have to be tested along your path to win a championship for me to have confidence into that.
Yep.
But what Indiana did in Game 1 to just absolutely give this one away all under 30 seconds and again in overtime, giving you enough chances for Jayson Tatum to finally wake up, the West won't do that. The Mavericks won't let that happen. The Timberwolves won't let that happen.
Man.
And defensively, they're going to bring it. They're going to have everything the Pacers don't. I just don't feel good again, even after this Game 1.
How can you? Now, listen,
I feel good about Jaylen Brown and Drew Holiday. We'll get there, but I just don't feel good about the rest.
I mean, but by the way, going back to the Heat series, those have been the guys who have been consistent all playoffs long for you. So here we go again with that. Look, this isn't the George Malecki show. This isn't the Travis Thomas show. It's called Boston Has Entered the Chat for a reason. So we need to hear from you. 617-790-0928. Please hit us up. Send us your tweets. We're going to get to those later in the show. Also, email us, thechat@nesson.com.
I'm excited about that. We just launched email, awesome. thechat@nesson.com. You guys don't want to leave a voicemail. You don't want to hit us up on X. All good.
Yes.
Send us an email. We'll keep it anonymous. Just note it in. But say whatever you want. Get it off your chest. Tell us it. Email it to us at at NESN.com. It's confidential. We
That's
won't
right.
give anyone's identity away, but we want to hear you guys. And I'm saying everything.
Yeah.
You want to sound off about the Celtics? Go ahead. You want some life advice? Bring it to us.
Right. Yeah. I mean, listen, it's a judgment-free zone. It's a safe space. And after last night, this show is therapeutic for all of us. And I think you said it there. This was more of a Pacers choke job than it was Celtics being clutch. And look, you have to give some credit. They did hit the clutch shots when you needed them. Obviously, the JB3 that you mentioned at the end of regulation, but also even in overtime, they made some big buckets. But this was a Pacers game to lose, and they lost it. And for a young team like them, that is devastating. You know, I would imagine in game 2 they come out flat. But I'll say this, going back to my Celtics in 6 series prediction, I don't really feel like I'm going to move off of that because you still just can't trust this team. Even with the win, even though they survive, they did not play defense consistently all night in game 1 at all. They played the Pacers style, and really we talked about this coming into the series. Yeah, we understand the Pacers can score, but they're really Celtics light. The difference is the Celtics can strap down and play defense when you need it. I didn't really see that in game 1 at all. It felt like a Pacers-paced game. There weren't big stops when you needed big stops. The turnovers from both teams, but more so the Celtics were atrocious. It was a sloppy. It was probably the most sloppy, high-scoring game I've ever seen in my life.
And it was the Pacers. They go up 69-64.
Yeah.
Celtics respond with a 22-6 run.
Right.
They're piecing that together and keep going. And then it was really, for me, it was like 2:20 left in the game on, where it's just a complete mess. Jaylen Brown missing a 28-footer. Nembhard come back, hits a tough shot. Holiday bucket, get the free throws. Nembhard step back, makes it 117-114. And you have Tyrese Halliburton with his turnover under 2 minutes, just rushing up court and dribbling the ball off his foot.
He panicked.
Every time, multiple times pressing. But Nembhard's shots got the Pacers to that point. So it's tough on me to bog him on this one. But inbounding it off the turnover after a take foul by Tatum, Nembhard inbounding it, tries to get it to Siakam, and then it goes out of bounds, turnover on them. That sets up the JB.
Right.
Then in overtime, Tyrese Halliburton just has Drew Holiday stare at him, and again,
Yeah.
it was a clutch defensive moment by Drew Holiday, but it's just like him in the presence, and then the lights get bright, and Tyrese Halliburton, again, just fumbles. Bad shots.
Yeah.
Awful taking threes. Like hunting for the wrong looks. You can go to the cup. You know, you don't need a 3 in a situation to take a lead, and he just kept giving it away and giving it away.
This is what frustrated you in the Knicks series, because I remember you saying I was giving Tyrese Halliburton props for coming into Madison Square Garden in Game 7, talking trash, the Reggie Miller choke hoodie, the whole 9, and he had a big game to back it up. And you were staunch in saying, listen, bro, like
What
the
have you
Knicks
done?
had nothing left to
Exactly.
give. So now we see in a Game 1 on the road in Boston, you didn't have that same energy, Tyrese Halliburton.
He did. I mean, he hit that buzzer beater before the
He had
half.
some
Then he
shots.
hit that ridiculous prayer 3
Yeah.
end of the third, and he was jumping up, talking his ish to the
Right,
crowd. And I was
right.
like, and I'm watching it, and I'm enjoying it. I'm like, man, it's got to be fun to be like that much in your bag, talking trash to the crowd,
Yeah.
being in the Garden, silencing them.
Right.
But those last
The
2
last-
minutes, especially the last 30 seconds, under 1 minute in the fourth quarter and overtime, Nembhard and Halliburton combined for 4 turnovers, 2 each,
Wow.
and in the worst moments possible. And when Halliburton was guarded by Drew Holiday, 0 for 5, 2 turnovers
is.
when that happened.
Well, I mean, Drew Holiday, season high from him.
Let's get to him and Jaylen
I mean,
Brown.
just as clutch as you could be, 28 points from him. Tatum did finish with 36 points, 12 boards.
Empty 36.
It felt like empty calories. A lot of those felt like empty calories, George.
And he was 2 for 10 in the fourth and overtime, 0 for 4 from 3 before he finally woke up. But like Drew Holiday, 28 points on 63% shooting, 50% from deep. Jaylen Brown, here's 3 of his last 4 games. In Game 3 against the Cavs, 28 points on 77% from the floor. Game 4, 27 points, 60 and 67 shooting splits. Game 5, 11 points. Off night from JB. Celtics won in spite of that. 26 points, 50% from the floor, 25% from 3. And Jaylen Brown just showing up in the moment time and time again.
Man.
Drew Holiday and Jaylen Brown. You're going to see Jayson Tatum with the 36. But those misses he had late in the fourth were ugly, man. Rushing. And he had that bad turnover, too, trying to hunt Halliburton, where Drew didn't come off his screen yet, and he literally just dropped the ball and got rid of it. He was pressing. He was panicking. He didn't want the ball in his hand in those clutch moments where you're so talented. Go to the cup. Attack. When you have number 0 matched up on you. When you have Aaron Nesmith. When you have Nembhard, too. Just take them to the cup. And he just wasn't doing that.
The answer has to be Joe Mazzulla. But I want to just ask the question, why is this team still so bad late in games? I don't understand for the life of me. It has to be Joe Mazzulla.
I mean, it is coaching.
It has to be.
Out of timeouts, after timeouts, he's been nails drawing it up. But yeah, like on the fly.
They are awful. Yeah. And they're not getting better. I mean, if anything, they're regressing late in games. I don't understand it. And we keep saying this. All of us in Boston has entered the chat. It's going to come back to haunt them at the worst possible moment. And we know it's coming. And none of us, I don't think, believe it's a series, although in game 1 it looked like the Pacers may make it a series. But, boy, doesn't it just feel like, and you said this off the top, you get to the NBA Finals, you're finally not going against a Steph Curry, but you're going against some killers out west, whether it's Ant, whether it's Luka, whether it's Kyrie, whatevs. They are – I mean, if you are this bad late game, which they will be, there's no magic pill that can be taken, and all of a sudden the Celtics have late game figured out. It's not going to happen. One of those dudes, whoever it is going to rip your chest, rip the heart right out of your chest. They are.
What's the bigger stage? Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals against a really bad team like the Pacers, or Game 7 of the conference semifinals staring down the defending champs? Ant's been there.
Yeah.
What the Mavericks have had to do as well with Luka and that team matching up as well.
You know what?
It's these guys that are studs and have no problem with the ball in their hands when their team needs them.
Late game, Timberwolves, Nuggets, Game 7. Ant was having a crappy game.
6 for 24 from the floor, but kept pushing it.
But he kept pushing it. He locked down, remember, he locked down Jamal Murray.
Yeah.
He made the clutch plays, and then down the stretch, he hit some big buckets.
It's all confidence. I mean, the skill and the talent's there, but it's like the confidence that isn't lacking in the West. And you just see for the Celtics team, and maybe it is because they keep looking, as someone that calls it out all the time, the Celtics will go as far as Jayson Tatum takes them. Maybe it's Jaylen Brown saying, I'm done looking for that. And I know I've shown up all postseason long. I've been the best player, the most consistent player.
He has.
And now it's give me the ball in my hands because I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to be decisive.
He only hit 1 3, and it was ugly, but it went in, so who cares?
It tied the game and sent it to overtime. Under 8 seconds left, he nailed it. I don't care about anything about that shot. It did not look pretty, but it went in. But it comes down to it where the Celtics leave this game feeling relieved. They pull out a win at home. They steal one in clutch time. Had to take it to OT, and they ran them off the floor in overtime. But you're the more talented team, and it was gifted to you by the Pacers. I keep saying it.
Yeah.
Indiana, Tyrese Halliburton absolutely gave this game away.
He did.
Under 30 seconds left in the fourth and in OT, again with the bad turnovers. When you're facing the Timberwolves, when you're facing the Dallas Mavericks, and those stars and those teams that can defend, they're not going to give it to you like this that the Pacers just did. And I'm just worried about the lack of execution from the Celtics facing a really bad team and if they can do it again.
Jaylen Brown is tired of this. When asked what was the difference in overtime, quote, JT, Jayson Tatum, finally woke up. Jaylen Brown's sick and tired of this.
I mean, the shots he was
fed
missing.
Up, George.
Because it is, if you're going to take those shots.
Yes.
A, let's get good looks. B, make them.
Right.
Under 26 seconds left. It was Tatum down 3. Pull up, wide open 3, missed it. And that could have tied the game.
Yep.
Derek White goes to the cup, misses it. Tatum gets a rebound off that.
Just go up.
Puts a ball on the floor twice. Does a fadeaway
Why?
off one leg.
Why?
Like he's Carmelo Anthony. Misses that. And then after that turnover by the Pacers, Jaylen Brown corner bails him out. That's it. And then Jayson Tatum in overtime was hitting shots finally.
Yeah.
But that's when you give that team enough chances it's going to happen. And Tyrese Halliburton giving you the game. That's why Jaylen Brown's saying JT finally woke up.
Finally woke up.
Jaylen Brown's a smart dude, man. He's sharp. He knows what he's saying at all moments.
Yeah, he does. He's very calculated.
It's a walk-off interview with Lisa Salters.
Right.
But he's going to say JT finally
woke up. All right, the good news, reports indicate that Kristaps Porzingis could play in Game 4. I think I speak for all the chat when I say hurry up and get back because clearly they need his ass in the lineup.
But take your time and make sure you're ready.
Well, make sure you're ready, but Lord knows they need you in the lineup. All right, let's get to the fan tweets. Send us your tweets. We show them love all the time. It's very funny, actually, on Twitter. Most people after this game were like taking some shots at Jayson Tatum here, even though, again, you win Game 1, you survive in overtime. Tatum did eventually, in the words of Jaylen Brown, woke up. But here you go. I mean, there was a ton of this on Twitter. Tatum for the tie. Look at that. A lot of this. Here's another one. Jayson Tatum for the tie from deep. You got the background falling on him. I get it. I was screaming all kinds of expletives as this game down the stretch as Jayson Tatum kept fumbling the bag. But then eventually he got it together. And here you go. Jayson Tatum, when it comes to saving his legacy last second, he turned into prime LeBron in Cleveland, just taking over the game here.
But guess what? He doesn't have that opportunity if Jaylen Brown doesn't bail him out.
Right.
What do you make of that, of JB saying that? JT finally woke up.
I think it's the worst timing ever to do it, but he's not wrong. How about this? Fluka Magic tweets, Jaylen Brown deserves a statue in Tatum's house. I have no idea how he does it. I think it was a bold move, Cotton, but I think you're right. I think he's very calculated. I think he knows exactly what he was saying. And maybe it lights a fire under Jayson Tatum, but it could also go the other way where Tatum's like, what's up with you,
It's
bro?
JB calling it out of like, I've been the best player of these playoffs.
He has.
And I want to be in those big moments.
Past playoffs too, George.
I need you. Yeah, he was the best player in the finals when they were there 2 years ago. And he's looking at Tatum.
He's sick of it.
And he's saying, I need you to want to be in that moment with
That's
me.
right.
Because he knows he can't do it alone.
Yeah.
Maybe he can. Because maybe if he shows up like that and we get more performances like this from Drew Holiday and Derek White executing late in the game, then yeah, maybe it can be with Jaylen Brown taking this team as far as he can go.
Well, here's what's dangerous about...
He was finishing with his left lane in the game. He was hitting tough shots.
Here's what's dangerous about that quote from him and what you're saying. If that's the case, he's a guy, he's the dude to take us to the promised land, then you have some decisions to make for the future of this franchise. Is Jayson Tatum, after all this, actually Robin and Batman's Jaylen Brown? If that's the case, you have some tough decisions to make moving forward.
If they win it, you don't change anything.
If they win it, you don't change anything. If they lose it, you almost maybe have to at that point. All right, let's look at the Western Conference Finals. Game 1 tonight. Wolves at home hosting the Mavs here. What are you thinking for this? Because, listen, it seems like a love fest right now for Anthony Edwards and this young Timberwolves team. Obviously, everyone understands that. You knock off the champs. They clearly got that dog in them, or I guess in their case, they got that wolf in them. But, I think that's actually advantage to the Mavericks because the way I see it, Luka, Kyrie, finally both playing very well at the same time. It seems like in this playoff so far, they've kind of been ping-ponging where Kyrie plays really well for a stretch of games and Luka's not doing so hot, and then vice versa. Luka will catch on, and then Kyrie's kind of – and it's different than Tatum and Brown. Both of them are hyper-aggressive and seem to mesh well. Their games mesh well together, even their personalities, which is a surprise to me. But their games and their personalities mesh well. They can take over and have taken over games at the same time. It's just kind of how it's been in the playoffs. One's off. Luka got banged up a little bit. The other's not. But I tell you one thing. towards the end of that last series, they started figuring it out and coming together. And I think you're going to see more of that against the Timberwolves here. I'm going to take the Mavs to steal game 1.
Ooh, I like that.
And win the series.
Well, it's going to be a completely different series when it comes to Rudy Gobert and his game.
Yeah.
Because as great as Jokic is, like, he is a guy that's around the rim, and
Right.
Gobert picks him up. But the bigs for the Dallas can shoot.
Yeah.
And even just draw him out from under the cup. And that's where we know Rudy Gobert gets exposed, guarding on the perimeter, right?
Right.
So, like, that to me is going to be the first wrench thrown their way. Then you take it on top of how does a Jaden McDaniels do guarding a Luka Doncic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Edwards. Because they're great defenders. But Lou Dort is elite and strong enough to stick with Luka. Luka's not the biggest guy, but knows how to throw his body around and use his size and his weight to his advantage.
He's heavier. Yeah.
So I can see Dallas stealing it in that case of this is a completely different type of matchup, size-wise, skill-wise, shooting-wise, and it can throw this Minnesota defense into a bind. When they came back against against Denver, and this is where you draw the positives for the Timberwolves.
Yep.
There was never that give up for them. Like, what was it, 20-point lead, and it gets down to 12, and you don't exactly see it. Like, you don't feel it. Like, it feels like, all right, it's Denver. They're still up 12.
Right.
But Minnesota, they kept coming and coming and coming.
That's
and
what
going.
they do. They're relentless.
So there's that belief by the Timberwolves, and they knew. You mentioned Anthony Edwards, how poorly he shot, but he kept pushing and running that offense and picking it up. And then once it got close and the defense got unleashed and to play with confidence. But this Dallas team, with that front court, with the Livelies, with the Washingtons, with the size they bring and the shooting they have as well. And then you have Luka and Kyrie, where Kyrie's just going to do it all. He doesn't have to score, but he'll do everything and be a playmaker. That's where it is. I like that pick, too. I don't like Dallas in 7. It wouldn't be a surprise.
Not to me, not to you.
How does Luka's knee hold up?
By the way, Timberwolves in 7 wouldn't be a surprise either, right? Like, I think you and I certainly agree on this one feels like it's going 7. And again, advantage Celtics. Because if you can get the Pacers up out of here, and we'll see, Lord knows after game 1. But if you could get the Pacers up out of here with the swiftness, and then out west they go 7, it's just another advantage that you have because it's going to take a pound of flesh to win that Western Conference for whoever, whether it's Luka and Kyrie being the last 2 standing or Ant Edwards. You make up a great point, though. You know, as the playoffs have been going on, P.J. Washington and other role players there for the Mavs have been exceptional. They just have. They've stepped up to the moment. Now, they don't have a consistent third fiddle, if you will. They don't have a big 3 where you say, okay, Luka, Kyrie, and blank consistently.
The role players have been great for
But
Dallas.
they have stepped up to the point where on any given night, any of those guys, it's really been more P.J. Washington, but on any given night, any of those guys can step up. So if I'm the Timberwolves, and you said this, you must lean into defense. You must shut those other guys down. Look, if Luka and Kyrie beat you, they just combine for all the points in the world, and you lose the series, what are you going to do? I mean, we're looking at 2 Hall of Famers here. But if you lose the series because you actually do a decent job on those 2 and these other clowns are killing you, you just can't have it if you're the Timberwolves.
It's for Anthony Edwards, where he's a darling, and he's only 22.
He's young,
right?
man.
And I know you're going to hear that a ton. But there is a veteran feel to this team with the Mavs because of what Kyrie done, obviously winning a ring.
Yeah.
Luka's been in the Western Conference Finals before.
Right. Twice.
So they've been to this stage. Great coaching and Jason Kidd, experienced coach on their bench.
Yeah.
That's why it's tough to see the series going anything less than 6, obviously. And like if it came down to 7 and best of 7, best team wins, you wouldn't be shocked by it either.
No doubt. For all the latest on the Celtics, check out Hold My Banner, full episode on YouTube, Facebook, wherever you get your podcasts. And make sure you follow us on all social media accounts for all of our best content. All right, George, I know Bruins are gone. Still hurts.
It to me.
But we still have hockey to get to, my friend. I mean, there is a Final Four left. So it's only right that you and I break it down. What do you say? Even though the Bruins are gone, one last ride with hockey.
I'm all for it. We're talking blue shirts, baby.
All right, George, there it is. The Final Four is set in the quest for Lord Stanley's Cup. Panthers, Rangers, Stars, Oilers. Let's start with Game 1 tonight. Panthers at the Rangers. MSG. Who you got, my friend?
I got the Rangers in this one.
Okay.
I think they have the dynamic scoring. At his best, they have the better goalie. Just with Igor Shesterkin, it's do we have Lord Igor, who is the best goalie remaining in this postseason outside of Jake Ottinger?
Yeah.
Or do we have a complete sieve? But I just don't trust Sergei Bobrovsky, but he just proved me wrong in the last round.
He did.
And you know what? He may not be that good anymore, but he's good for the Panthers, and they know how to protect him.
Yeah.
That's with the physicality. They don't let you get up and down on the ice.
Right.
But what worries me with the Panthers is now the Bruins put together a great season and a great postseason run. But you gave that Bruins team a legitimate chance because don't get it twisted. Bees had them down to the wire in Game 6.
Yep.
And one breakaway, one puck gets behind Bobrovsky, one bad bounce doesn't go, or one lucky bounce doesn't go the Panthers' way. And that series could have went 7 and all bets off at that point. But I think with this Rangers team, the fight they have to be down 3-1 in Game 6. And yes, it was Chris Kreider with that third period hat trick, but for him to get it done. But just that you keep fighting and go balls to the walls at that point. Because we just saw between Vancouver and Edmonton, Vancouver finished with 17 shots on goal in the game. Just go all out and shoot the puck, and maybe you beat Stuart Skinner. You most likely do. I think this Rangers team with the leadership they have in the Chris Kreiders and the Mika Zibanejads and the Adam Foxes, but also with a physical blue line, but they do have the speed and the good skaters to keep up with the teams in the West. I think they're a different story than what the Panthers just saw, which was a team made like them. We're going to be big. We're going to be physical. We're going to play ugly. So I really like the Rangers in this series.
The Rangers really kind of feel like a team of destiny. This is the anniversary year of their last cup, right? I mean, I don't know. I'm going to go Panthers simply because I've said from the beginning, really all year, I've been consistent with it. The Panthers are the most complete team I've seen. And for everything you said, yes, we know how good the Rangers are on defense and especially in goal and at Madison Square Garden. But at times, their offense disappears. At times. You know, I was very impressed with them beating the Canes because I thought the Canes had a real shot to go all the way to the Cup final, and the Rangers got it done in 6 nonetheless. I was more shocked by that. I thought for sure we were going 7 in that series. But this one feels like it's going 7. So tonight, you know, I'll roll with you. I think Game 1, Rangers get it done.
At home.
But I'm going to tell you something. I think New York's going to have some tough sledding here. The Knicks are already done. I think the Rangers lose the series in 7. I do. And some of the reason.
That's a good Panthers team, man.
Yes. And some of the reason, like, I like the Rangers in Game 1, the energy of the building. We know what they are. They're going to come out and do what they do. But I think the Panthers, in a lot of ways, will get enough takeaways from Game 1 to adjust their game. That's the difference. That's why the Panthers are the most complete team because they can beat you in any style. You want to play low scoring and defense? No problem. You want to get up and down the ice and score? No problem. And we know that coaching staff makes adjustments. We saw that here. So I ultimately think the Panthers win the series, but I like the Rangers for Game 1.
This is going to be one hell of an entertaining series.
It is.
And we saw that between the Bruins and the Panthers, but like can name the skaters for the Panthers, just their centers down the middle, Barkov, Lundell, Bennett. Then you have the Verhaeghes, the Kachucks, the Reinerts. Those 3 wings I just named, all 70-plus in points on the season as well. They have the toughness. They'll bring the forecheck. They'll win the puck possession, the faceoffs. They'll play dirty. They'll play physical.
Yeah.
And they'll go find a way to win.
Yeah.
I just think the Rangers, and you said it, I thought the Canes would come out of the East.
Me too.
I thought the Canes, when they got Gensel, would win it all. You too?
I thought them or the Panthers.
That's fair. The Rangers to beat the Carolina Hurricanes say
Yeah.
more to me than the Panthers to get by the Bruins.
Fair.
And that's why I think when it comes to battle-tested level of hockey, quality of scoring, and quality team you just saw, that's why I give this upper hand. Now, given we can see the Panthers completely unload because they did just go up against Jeremy Swayman, who would put up historic numbers as a goaltender. So it could be a different story now. But Igor Shesterkin's good again. And I think that goalie advantage is huge for the blue shirts. I just really like the Rangers in this one.
Game 1, Oil and Stars. Where are you going in that one?
It's tough not to go Stars.
It's in Dallas.
With the Sagans and the Pavelskis and the Suitors and Jake Ottinger. This is a veteran team.
Yeah.
More stout defensively. This Oilers team is so much fun to watch, obviously. And I mean, the top 4 scorers this postseason all wear Edmonton sweaters.
Dallas can score too, though.
And you have McJesus, Draisaitl, Evander Kane. I get it. But this Dallas team, they can score and they could get stops.
Yeah.
That Canucks team was good. They just didn't play up to the level of the Oilers. And just Stuart Skinner just scares the hell out of me, man. To bank on him in a 7-game series, I just don't believe in him at all.
I was actually shocked at both of these teams advancing. I thought for sure the Avs were going to beat the Stars, and then I
again, it's a quality win by Dallas.
You know what's crazy too is like both the Stars and the Oil won games against the style that they want to play. So like seeing the Oil win games 2-1 was insane to me. Because, I don't know, 2-3 years ago, that would never happen. They were in shootouts, and they were totally dependent on their stars. Now I'm seeing them muscle wins and bully wins. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe it's time for the Oil. Kind of like I was saying with the Rangers. Even though I bet against them last round, maybe it's like their time. And sometimes there's just nothing you can do against that. We know McDavid is gifted enough he's going to win one cup. Is this the year? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I've been impressed with how they won, and same thing with the Stars. Obviously, the Stars are well balanced, but I feel like offensively, that's a gifted hockey team. Defensively, there are nights where they're a little sketchy, and they haven't been in the playoffs. They've been lights out too. They absolutely bullied the Avs. So, I think I'm intrigued. Styles make fights, and I'm intrigued to see, are we going to get a high-scoring series like I think we're going to get between these two? Or is it going to be like the rest of this series along the way for these teams where they shock me and they're playing these knockdown, drag-out, low-scoring, old-school hockey games?
And the Oilers can come out and just absolutely dominate in the dot. Dominate puck possession. And even Connor McDavid, credit to him, he has a 200-foot game to him.
He does.
Because it's led by and scored by Leon Draisaitl, McDavid with his apples, and Vancouver kept him in check. Aside for his 3-assist game, they kept him in check in that series. And then you get the layers with the Evan Bouchard coming up on the blue line, being their third best scorer. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, of course. And there's a Zach Hyman with the 11 goals that he has. Like, there's so much to this Oilers attack. But to me, it just comes back to the defense and a Stars team that can keep up with Edmonton. And they don't have that raw talent and dynamic playmaking like Draisaitl and McDavid and Hyman bring to Edmonton. But they just have the guys and the experience and the toughness, and they just have the goalie advantage. That's why the Stars is tough for me to see them lose, because their goalie can steal games. I don't see Stuart Skinner stepping up like that. I mean, that's a guy with the .881 save percentage in these playoffs. And he only had to face 17 shots. 2 of those got through against Vancouver in that deciding Game 7. It's tough. It's tough for me to see Skinner pulling through in such a big stage.
Well, let's leave it with this, because as you know, George, many things in my life always trace back to gambling. Here I have the odds to capture Lord Stanley's Cup. Listen how tight these odds are. Panthers, the favorite, barely, plus 230. Right behind them, Dallas Stars, plus 240. Oilers, plus 270. And how about the Rangers, plus 380?
Crazy.
Where would you bet here?
It's tough not to take McDavid at that number.
I was thinking Rangers
third shortest
at that
odds,
number.
but I like the Rangers. Like, how do I not? But everyone's saying it comes out of the West, which surprises me that the Panthers are the odds-on favorite.
Right.
So
maybe Vegas feels how I feel. It's the most complete. I'm telling you, they can do anything.
I'll bet with my heart. I'm wearing a blue shirt, but it's for Seton Hall.
Go Pirates.
Go Pirates. I'll bet Rangers at that number.
Well, look, I already told you the Panthers, and I guess I could make a case that even though they're the favorite, it's still good value at plus 230, right? So I would go Panthers just to stay consistent with what I said. But, boy,
nothing on the Stars?
It would be tough. I tell you, no. I would tell you this. I'm betting the Eastern Conference here, Panthers or Rangers. And if we're at the book drinking, you could talk me into Rangers with that blue shirt at that price. But if I'm sober, I'm sticking to my guns. I'm going Panthers.
Out of the East, I will bet on the Rangers. Out of the West, I'll bet on the Stars. That team.
I'd be on the opposite of that too.
That team does so many things well.
They do. They're like the Panthers from the East. They're complete.
It's just, and it's a different game in the West. Watching Bruins-Panthers Game 6.
Yeah.
And that game finishes.
Right. Low
My
scoring,
buddies,
tough. Yep.
We're sitting on the back deck,
Yep.
having a couple old fashions. He's a
Yep.
great bartender.
Oh, old fashions.
You have to have James Sullivan's old fashioned.
James Sullivan, where are you?
It'll
Where you
change your
been my
life.
whole life?
You'll get him. I'll make
all
it
right,
happen
all
one
right.
day. We walk inside, catch the end of the first overtime between the Stars and the Avs, and we're watching this. We're like, is this real hockey? Because the speed, how quick those breakouts are.
Yeah.
The West is a different
It's
animal.
a different animal. I think I bet on McDavid just because at that price, you can't go wrong with any of these. That's why the odds are so tight. All right, from the ice to the gridiron, G. Beasy, can you please let the kind people know what we got popping on Foxborough Rush? Because I'm telling you right now, nobody covers the Patriots and the NFL like your boys do. Nobody.
Latest episode of Foxborough Rush, we had Sean T. McGuire from Nesson.com joining us straight up on the side of I-95 after a fresh round of golf where he shot 117. But most importantly, bringing us his takeaways from OTAs. We're talking Gerard Mayo, difference between him and Bill Belichick, what he saw in Drake May, what he sees on the offensive line, and some T. Higgins talk with him and the Bengals and his possible future with the Pats. That's Foxborough Rush. New episodes dropping every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, wherever you get your podcasts, YouTube, Nesson.com, Facebook, Twitch as well. Check them out.
Come on. All right, look, I'm reading this article right here. The jersey worn by New York Yankees Babe Ruth when he called his shot in Game 3 of the 1932 World Series. That's
I was there that day.
That's the one. Will go up for auction in August. It could fetch upwards of $30 million. So it poses a question, my friend. Memorabilia. Are you a memorabilia guy? Are you a sports memorabilia guy?
Yeah. I'm into them.
Doesn't sound like it.
I don't have the bankroll to be into sports memorabilia.
So you appreciate it. You're just not a participant.
Exactly. I think
Okay.
that's sick.
Okay.
But you're not going to catch me bidding at, charity events for something.
Right.
I got too many bills to pay. And I'd rather travel than, drop,
Sure.
a couple G's on some jersey signed by somebody. But it could be worth something one day.
Yeah.
So that's where I stand. But also keep in mind, over the weekend, I was at Fenway for the card show. And literally there was a one-on-one Mickey Mantle card. Someone was showing it to me. They let me hold it. There was security there worth $200,000. So, you get something on you do. But I'm not a memorabilia guy. What about you?
You know, it's funny. I actually emceed a sports memorabilia expo last year.
I think you're going to hit me with an auction. I'm going to go on.
No, but you know what? Listen, I'm available if anyone's. But so I emceed this event, and I was actually, because I'm not really a memorabilia guy. I do appreciate it and I respect it, but I went into it knowing it's a sports memorabilia expo. Hosted it. I know my sports, no problem. I did a great job emceeing. But what I learned, there were so many Pokemon cards being dealt.
Those are worth money too.
Different anime shows and movies and Lord of the Rings cards and
Now you're
all
talking
this
my
stuff.
business.
And I was like, wow. I didn't really realize, I guess, the depths in which this stuff goes. So that was cool to learn. What would be your ideal piece of Boston sports memorabilia? Forget the money. You have unlimited funds. You are G. Beasy, the trillionaire, baby. What would you get your hands on?
Well,
Boston sports memorabilia.
Boston sports. A good one would be, and this one is the story behind it, the Super Bowl ring Vladimir Putin stole from Robert Kraft.
Out of all the goddamn
Imagine
things.
what you have to go through to get that.
Oh. What makes you even
So you
think
know
of
why?
that?
Because it got stolen from Robert Kraft. Also, think about that. And you know why I think of this one? Because I feel like you don't have to pay to get that. You got to find a dirty way to get that. You're breaking some kneecaps or something. Winning a game of poker and drinking some Russian vodka in Moscow.
Oh.
I would go with that. But that's also, again, the story to it.
Yeah.
Wait, that's a Super Bowl ring. It's not any Super Bowl ring.
Right.
It was Robert Kraft's
Yeah.
until Vladimir Putin stole it from him and I had it.
Man. Didn't
That's
he say
one.
something about that at the roast? Wasn't he like, Vladimir,
No.
I want my ring back.
No.
Am I making
Kraft?
that up?
Yeah, you're
I
making.
feel like I've seen
No,
Robert
he
Kraft
doesn't
be like,
want
I
to
want
admit
my
that.
ring
He doesn't
back,
have the
bro.
stones to admit that. He doesn't have the
He
stones.
said it at the roast,
I'll
bro.
rewatch
We
it.
watched the roast 17 times. You don't
He did
remember
say
that?
it.
He said it.
All right,
I
I don't
think
remember.
so. All right.
I believe you.
Mine would be anything from like the iconic flying goal of Bobby Orr. I wouldn't care what it.
Skate,
Jersey,
stick,
skate,
puck,
hockey
puck.
stick. I don't care.
The puck from that. No.
I take whatever.
The sweater, the jersey from that goal.
I would take a drop of blood from the ice from that moment if I could get it.
I think that'd be sick to have the sweater that Bobby Orr was wearing when he flew
Gangster.
through the air, and it's that photo.
Gangster.
You want a serious one?
Yeah, that wasn't serious? The
No.
Vladimir Putin ring?
I would go with Brady's jersey from his last Patriots game.
Oh, okay.
Infamous, he threw an interception. His
Yeah,
last
yeah,
pass
yeah.
as a Patriot.
All right.
But it's his jersey, last Patriots game, and it was the last time before the Patriots switched to their awful blueberry jerseys that they wear now.
Sure. I have a personal like one that I have that was given unto thee. I'm not going to say who because I don't know like all the guidelines of these current players, but there's a current player in the league that gave me a game-worn jersey
That's sick.
against the Patriots. He's on another team, and it literally has the blood of Mac Jones on it. I'm not kidding.
Do you have it framed?
Yes,
Okay.
it has the blood of Mac Jones on it.
Get that framed before the blood goes away. Nice.
Yeah. So
you have
that
Mac
one,
Jones's blood hanging
I
in
do.
your home.
It's like a personal thing to me. Like, you know, I'm not going to sell it at something,
No.
but like,
And that's what I like. I think that's cooler
yeah.
than going out and bidding on something. There's a story,
There's a story
behind it. You see? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right, bro.
So I
Now
think
I
that's
get
what's
it.
sick about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
All right, greatest, like unlimited money. Forget Boston sports just in general. What do you want?
Oh.
Anything.
Oh, you're putting me on the spot now.
Anything. Would you get one of those deflated footballs?
That'd be funny. That'd be a story. Like, yeah, I knew the deflator. The baseball that Ted Williams hit for that 500, 200, 504-foot home run, the red seat, which it's all made up to me. It hit someone. They were just sitting in that seat that day with the tornado winds. That'd be cool. But unlimited money.
Unlimited money.
I would, and it's sports memorabilia. I would need like Muhammad Ali's boxing gloves
Oh, that's hard.
from the Thrilla in Manila or something
That's
like
hard.
that. Yeah, I would want like signed Muhammad Ali boxing
Like an
gloves.
iconic, historic.
I need someone because that goes, or something Tom Brady too, like his cleats from his 7th Super Bowl win.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'd want. The Ali one was good. I'll tell you a funny one that I would want just on the humble. I always thought that was a cool ass jacket that Pedro had on when he threw old man, rest his soul, his name Don Zimmer.
Yes.
Remember the jacket?
Came at him,
yeah,
grabbed him, threw him down.
bro. I always liked that jacket. I like the move Pedro used, and then I like the jacket too. I would want that jacket, and then whenever I would wear it. Forget the frame stuff. So whenever someone would compliment my jacket, like, man, that's a sick socks jacket you
Story.
got. I'd be like, yeah, this is
See?
the one Pedro wore when he threw the old man to the ground.
I like that.
You
That's
know,
a good
what
one.
I'm talking about? The
Oh,
iconic.
yeah. I mean,
Man, that's
A-Rod and
the one.
Veritek started it all. I'm
Yes.
picturing it right now when Don Zimmer went at him.
Yeah, bro.
Throwing an old man to the ground. Kind of messed up, but hey,
Rest
whatever.
his soul, man. I ain't trying to make you the butt of my jokes. I'm just saying the jacket was mean. That's all.
The football from Antonio Brown's
Oh.
lone touchdown as a Patriot. Now, our assistant producer, Trevor, threw that out there. And I go, that's a good one. Because, again, the story, whose football is that? You know when Antonio Brown played one game for the Pats, had 4 catches, 56 yards, and a tutter
Bro.
against the Dolphins wearing number 17 for the Pats? That's a touchdown he caught.
I would rather have the pads, jersey, pretty much all the garments that Antonio Brown ripped off in his last NFL game when he
Again,
when he
dirty.
quit. When he ripped everything off. I'd just be catching it all. Be like, yep, memorabilia. Here we go, baby.
Give me one more. Julian Edelman's red gloves from when he made that fingertip catch in the 28-3 comeback. And when that happens, you're like, oh, this is real.
Oh.
Like that is, the Patriots have been on the other end of that. That's the one right there.
What would be go ahead.
Drew Bledsoe's spleen.
No, I don't want that. I don't want any parts of that. I don't want any. The only thing from Drew Bledsoe I want is that damn red wine
Double
and a
back.
glass. What about our memorabilia? Like, what would it be? A microphone?
Yeah,
would it be
yeah.
a Seton Hall shirt? This Seton Hall shirt was worn by George Bilecki.
The first tie
Episode
I
18.
ever wore when I went on air in Joplin, Missouri.
Oh, that's an all-timer right there. For all of our best content of the day, make sure you follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. For Travis Thomas and George Bilecki, if you want any memorabilia from us, we can't help you. But we love you on Boston Has Entered the Chat. We'll see you next time. Peace.